Top 5 multiplayer browser games for 2019. Browser games have loads of potential for creating fun memories. Hosting a game in the browser limits game developers in many ways, but it's this limitation that forces game developers to create fun and unique mechanics for the player. This fun is only multiplied when you play the game with your friends. What's up, geeks and gamers? Mizzix here from Archives Media, and today we're going to be covering the top 5 multiplayer browser games that are available to play in 2019. With the rise of smartphones, we've seen browser games plummeting in popularity, which means the golden age of browser games is behind us. Most of these games are absolutely amazing on smartphones, however you can never beat the simplicity of visiting a website and playing the game with no download required. Before we get into our first game, I have an announcement. On archivesmedia.net, I have added a game section dedicated to old Flash games that you probably played when you were younger. Check out the link in the description to visit our site. I only have 4 games on there right now, but I'm working on getting more. Number 5, 8-Ball Pool. 8-Ball Pool is an addictive game featuring colorful graphics and a robust online community. Developed by Miniclip and optimized for the iPhone because it's also an app, this game lets you play with your friends from both the Miniclip and Facebook communities. To play after the rack is broken by the cue ball, you simply adjust the angle of your pool stick with your mouse. 2 lines then appear, one showing the trajectory of the ball you're aiming for, and the other the trajectory of the cue ball. Once everything is adjusted to your liking, pull back the power meter to determine the strength for your strike. The farther down you pull and release, the harder you'll strike the cue ball. To get the game moving along, each player gets 30 seconds to set up and complete a shot. If you take longer than that, not only will you lose your turn, but your opponent can also move the cue ball to wherever he or she likes. To win, pot either all the solid or striped balls, and then get the last 8 ball in. Number 4, Agario. The objective of Agario is to grow a cell on a petri dish by swallowing randomly generated pellets, which slightly increases a cell's mass, and smaller cells without being swallowed by larger cells. The browser version currently holds 5 game modes: Free-for-all, Battle Royale, Teams, Experimental, and Party. The mobile version of the game includes Free-for-all and Rush mode. The goal of the game is to obtain the largest cell. Players must restart when all their cells are eaten. Players can change their cell's appearance with predefined words, phrases, symbols, or skins. The more mass a cell has, the slower it moves. Cells gradually lose mass over time. I remember when this game was getting huge. I was in my senior year of high school, and rather than doing our assignments, most of us played this game. This was mostly done in my computer science class, which created some intense rivalries. Number 3, Slowly Rio. The objective of the game is to control a worm around a wide area and eat pellets, defending and consuming other players to gain mass and to grow into the largest and longest worm in the game. Once the player starts the game and is spawned into the virtual world, their avatar cannot stop moving forward. If the player's worm's head collides into a part of another worm, the player will die. The defeated avatar's body turns into bright and shining pellets for other players to consume. As much pellets as it takes for the equivalent amount of mass as the worm had exactly before its death will be spawned. These pellets that remain from the death of an avatar will correspond to the color of the avatar itself, and are both brighter and bigger than normal pellets which spawn naturally throughout the world. Normal pellets do not give as much mass as pellets dropped from other worms. Chase pellets will appear individually in various places around the world, and when eaten, will give greater amount of mass than pellets dropped by other worms. Chase pellets avoid other worms and flee when they draw near. Chase pellets can be obtained by boosting. This game is extremely similar to Agario, but I think it requires a bit more skill. This was another game that was popular in my computer science class. Come to think of it, we didn't learn much in that class, mainly because the teacher was an engineer and she didn't know anything about computer science. Number 2, Secret Hitler. Secret Hitler is a hidden identity party game. To win the game, both parties are set to competitively enact liberal and fascist policies respectively, or compete with a secondary objective directly involving Hitler. Secret Hitler sees players divided into 2 teams, the liberals and the fascists. The fascists also include the Hitler role. The identity of Hitler is known to all other fascists, while the identities of fascists are unknown to Hitler in games with at least 7 players. At the start of each round, the player to the left of the previous president becomes the new president. The president nominates a candidate to become the chancellor, and every player, including the proposed government, votes either yes or no. If more than half the players vote for the chancellor, the player is granted the office. If successful, following the election, the president blindly draws 3 cards, each of which could be liberal or fascist, of which 2 are handed to the chancellor, who in turn selects which one of these will be passed and enacted. If the chancellor election is unsuccessful, the election tracker is counted up by 1 and the round ends immediately, passing the presidential roll on for a new election. Once 3 elections have failed in a row, the policy on top of the pile is drawn and enacted without any oversight by the president or chancellor, and then the election tracker is reset. The election tracker is also reset if a chancellor is elected. While enacting liberal policies have no direct effect on the game, passing a fascist law may grant the president the possibility to investigate a player's party membership, check the 3 top cards on the deck, assassinate a player, or choose the next round's president. The game ends when either 5 liberal policies or 6 fascist policies have been enacted, with the respective party winning the game. Additionally, after 3 fascist laws have been passed, the liberals can win the game if Hitler is assassinated, while the fascists can win the game if Hitler is elected chancellor after 3 policies have been enacted. Number 1. Town of Salem. Town of Salem is a browser-based game that challenges players on their ability to convincingly lie as well as detect when others are lying. The game ranges from 7 to 15 players. These players are randomly divided into alignments: town, mafia, serial killers, arsonists, and neutrals. If you're a town member, the good guys, you must track down the mafia and other villains before they kill you. Want the catch? Like Secret Hitler, you don't know who's a town member and who's a villain. If you're an evil role such as a serial killer, you secretly murder town members. This game is like Secret Hitler, but with more than 2 parties. This game requires more strategy, teamwork, and communication. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want more normie content, please hit the subscribe button to keep the content flowing.